Thank you so much for joining, everyone. We'll be starting shortly. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Burnout at 16. Why are we so tired? One of Anxothotl's workshops. I'm Arvi, the founder of Anxothotl, and I'm really grateful to have all of you here today. So, teenagers today are constantly balancing academics, expectations, social pressure, and uncertainty about the future. And sometimes it can become really exhausting. So, through this workshop, we wanted to create a safe space, safe and most importantly, honest space to talk about burnout, mental health, and the pressure young people silently carry. We're also honored to have Ms. Disha Agarwal with us today, founder of Teens Helpline and a youth mental health advocate who will be sharing her insights with us. Thank you so much for joining, and let's begin the session.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Disha, as Arvi introduced. First of all, I would like to thank Arvi for this opportunity, and I would really like to appreciate the team at Anxothotl for creating this platform and having these sessions where we can have conversations like this so openly. So just give me a second. I'll share my screen. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
So okay. So, the topic, as we all heard, is burnout at 16. Why are we so tired? We all are Gen Zs, and Gen Zs, are said to be the most active or connected generation who know about themselves, who know about their surroundings, are very much aware, conscious. But still, at this young age, we are surrounded by teenagers who are talking like overworked employees, who are constantly tired, exhausted, and are just all under the pressure of overworking or schoolwork, academics, all stuff like that. If I ask you what burnout means to you, so I would like you to write in the chat what is the first word which comes to your mind when you hear the word burnout. For example, if I ask myself, the first word which comes to my mind when I hear the word burnout is exhaustion. So I would like to ask you to write the answer in the chat box which you feel like comes to your mind the first. Tired, okay. Anything more? Tiredness, fine. Anxiety, right. Anything else? Okay, so if we talk about the technical definition of burnout, we can, okay, fed up with the same routine, right? So, technical definition of burnout is said to be like a severe stress condition where you are basically exhausted, but not only mentally, but as well as physically and socially. So, overall, we can say that burnout is basically interrupting your physical, social, and emotional well-being equally, which is not obviously a good thing. Now, people, when we hear the word burnout, always associate with like tiredness, anxiety, mental breakdowns, crying, like for no reason at all. But when we talk about teenagers, there's like a lot more to it. Maybe we can talk about procrastination, guilt while resting, feeling exhausted, fatigue, even after sleeping for proper like 8 to 10 hours, we are still tired the whole day. So if I ask you, like, ever this has happened with you that maybe you just opened your book and you felt like that you are done with it, or you felt guilty while resting, you procrastinated some responsibilities or your education, maybe, as ever of this happened with you? Again, in the chat box, you can quickly write yes. Okay, Shrishti says yes. Tamanna says yes. Ayush Narula says yes. Okay, moving on to the next slide. What burnout actually looks like, and like I feel like that there's a lot of misconception about burnout. Burnout is not always, like I said, crying, working too hard, complete breakdown, no physical energy. Burnout sometimes can also look like feeling numb, avoiding work completely, quiet exhaustion, no mental energy, procrastination, and all the stuff which we teenagers face. Now, when I asked you, like, ever this has happened with you, that you opened up your book and you felt like you are done with it, that's procrastination. I asked you if you maybe slept the whole night, but you're still feeling tired, that's because your body is not getting real rest. And the third thing I asked you, that is it ever happen that you are procrastinating your responsibilities? To that also you said yes. Now, another question I am asking you. For that, I'll show you the options and I expect you to write only the numbering, so I'll get to know which option you are choosing. What drains you the most? School pressure, competitive exams, social media, expectations from family, comparing yourselves to others, fear of failure, overthinking. Okay, comparing yourself, fear of failure, anything else? Okay, fear of failure, worry about career. Okay, so the most options I got was fear of failure. Okay, so like fear of, I also feel like that fear of failure is a root cause for many things. So like, okay, school pressure, competitive exams, social media, expectations from family, comparing yourself to others, fear of failure, overthinking. All these are reasons to burnout. Now, some may be contributing a very less part, but some may be contributing majorly. So, in the next slide, we'll be discussing, just a second, why are teenagers so exhausted? Now, I believe that these are the four main reasons, which is constant comparison, no real rest, productivity pressure, fear of falling behind. Now, with constant comparison, I mean the way we compare ourselves with each and every person around ourselves in our surroundings. When I talk about no real rest, here I'm not talking about only sleep, but I'm talking about rest between maybe your study blocks or your work, or maybe just some activity which requires cognitive ability or requires brain efforts. When I talk about productivity pressure, I talk about you are focusing on achieving everything and you're forgetting about your hobbies, your interest, your passion. And when I talk about fear of falling behind, you have the fear that everyone will surpass you and you will be left behind in the race and you'll be not able to cope up. Now, if I talk about these in details, constant comparison. Earlier, we used to have only one source of comparison, that is our classrooms. In classrooms, we are what, 40 to 50 students, and everyone are on different level. Some may be better than you, some may be worse than you, and we are always there to compare ourselves with others. Some may be good in sports, some may be good in academics, some may be both, and you are maybe average in everything. And that's how you compare. And now, with the help of social media, influencers, internet, we have gotten ourselves more ways to compare. If I talk about social media, we have all the influences there. Now we can talk about beauty influencers, or maybe people who talk about finance, or maybe people who talk about glow ups, glow downs, or anything which can maybe influence you and make you think like that you are not doing enough. Now, there are people who are doing a lot at their age, and you feel like that you have accomplished nothing. Now, there may be people who have perfect, clear, glowing skin, and you don't have that, and you are comparing yourselves to them. Now, when we talk about academic comparison, there are students who are putting up their achievements, their perfect academic life, their perfectly clean desk, and that aesthetic desk, and they're posting their videos and photographs of studying. Then we have success at young age, that is people doing a lot of stuff at your age and you are not doing that. And obviously the unrealistic standards, the influencers put the beauty standards, the standards you have to do this to be that type of particular person. Now, all the influencers maybe not like that, but do some influencers do put that effect of fake standards, unrealistic standards. Now, comparing is fine, but only up to a point. But if you start constantly comparing yourself to others, like especially to the people who are basically not even there to help you, but they are just putting standards there, that's doing no help to you. Either you stop watching them, or the best thing you could do is maybe you can learn from them and try to work hard and not be like them but be better than them, or be yourself in the best, like be the best version of yourself. So that is constant comparison, comparing yourself constantly to the influencers or the people around yourself, your friends, your parents, or anyone who seems, who is doing something a little better than you. Now, second thing, no real rest. Now, when we talk about no real rest, the first thing maybe which popped up into everyone's mind must be sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation is, yes, a point which is under no real rest, but my major points are constant screen time, doom scrolling, mental overstimulation, and guilt during breaks. Now, what does these points mean? Sleep deprivation, obviously, when you're not sleeping the appropriate amount of time at night, which is a reason which is happening because of the other four things, which is constant screen time, doom scrolling, mental overstimulation, and guilt during breaks. When I talk about this, let me take for example that I got up in the morning and I am planning my day that I'll study from this to this time. Maybe I'm planning three study blocks, one of 2 hour, then 2 hour, and then 2 hours. Between each study block, I am taking up 30 minutes to take give a break to myself. Now, one, if I take two people, the person A, during those breaks, they just use phones. Maybe they'll open up their Instagram, maybe they'll open up their WhatsApp to see the messages if they have received any. Maybe they'll you know just watch some ongoing show they have been watching, or some will do maybe anything which will overstimulate your brain. Now, the other person at the same time would maybe take a walk, stretch, do some stretching, drink water, or maybe just sit quietly, some self reflection time. Because when we take a break and we assume that we are giving ourselves a break while scrolling reels or maybe watching some show, that is again a misconception, my dear friends. Because at those time our brain is not getting real rest, our nervous system is still doing the work, and we overstimulate our brains, which in order do lead to sleep deprivation, and also is one of the main reason of burnout in teenagers. Coming to my next point, productivity pressure. Again, pressure to perform, hustle culture, fear of wasting time, and perfectionism. Now, pressure to perform. Again, the influencers, the beauty standards, comparison here comes again. You see others, you perform, try to perform better and better and better. To be honest, there's nothing wrong in that. You should compete, but again, a healthy competition, a competition which will not harm you, which will not make you neglect yourself. And you should focus on your hobbies and interest and passion rather than making everything into maybe a content or something which is productive. It's okay to be unproductive sometimes. Coming to my next point, fear of falling behind, competitive environment, future anxiety, social expectation, constant catch up feeling. Now, fear of falling behind. Okay, like this is something where I can give a real example. So I am in, like, recently, I made a change in my academic career, and I changed my batch, to a different batch because My mother wanted a different academic environment for me, which means I had no friends in the new academic environment. All the faces were new, all the teachers were new, and I constantly felt like that I am falling behind. I am just sitting in the class and looking up to the faces of everyone, and I'm doing nothing. But that academic change will help me. Till now, I do sometimes feels like it has been 1.5 month I've made this change, and still I feel like that I'm falling behind, and just looking up to others like that. But I feel like that growth is a long term process. It does not happen short, like in the oh, it in long it does not happen overnight, and we need to give time. So fear of falling behind, it's okay to have that fear, because we have a competitive environment. We do have anxiety about our futures, and our society expects a lot from us. But when we talk about fear of falling behind, we need to know that we should trust ourselves, we should have faith in ourselves, and we should just do everything consistently with discipline, and we'll be able to catch up. Now, if I say about these 4 points which we discussed: beauty standards, study influences, perfect routines, success at young age, topper strategies, like these are the all things which we see around ourselves nowadays. But what if I really say that our brains are not built for this much information? It's not like that I am saying that our brain does not have the capability to hold this much information, but this is something our brain does not require. It's something we are just feeding it and storing up our brain, and when we can really store it with some nice information, it's like with the help of these four things, we get in a constant loop, and which loop, if we don't come out in a early stage, we can get stuck in that loop, and that obviously will not be a good sign, which will lead to further serious stage of burnout. Now there's this activity where I've written some activities, and I expect you to just react, thumbs up or thumbs down. If you feel that activity is a real rest, I expect you to react with a thumbs up. And if you feel like that you're escaping from something while doing that activity, or procrastinating something, or that is not a real rest, I expect you to react with a thumbs down. So I'll show you the first activity. The first activity is sleeping properly. So what do you think? Is it a escape or a rest? Okay, some are doing thumbs up, some are doing thumbs down. So sleeping properly is a rest, because our body, as teenagers, we need at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep. We can, like, let's put a stop to at 8 hours of sleep. 10 hours can probably get a lot. Let's put a stop at 8 hours sleep. Our body requires a minimum 8 hours of sleep in this age. When I'm talking about this age, I mean at the age from 14 to 18. So sleeping properly is a rest. Doom scrolling for hours. Okay, thumbs down. Nice. Yeah. So basically, yeah, it's a escape. And if anybody who does not know doom scrolling, it's like basically scrolling on your Instagram or YouTube with no purpose at all for hours and hours. Next is watching videos to avoid responsibilities. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Okay, I got 2, 3 thumbs down. Again, right? This again is a escape, very similar to doom scrolling. But yeah, watching videos, like basically watching videos, what here is wrong is a video, maybe you start that you'll just watch the video for few minutes, but it ends up getting like 2 to 3 hours, and you complete the whole video, and then again you don't get back to the task you were doing because that seems boring to you. Next activity, going for a walk. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay. Yes, thumbs up. It's a real rest. You should going consider going for a walk as a real rest in between your study blocks, your work, or maybe after doing anything which requires your cognitive ability. Next, staying busy to avoid emotions. Thumbs up or thumbs down? This is the tricky one. I see one thumbs down and I see one thumbs up. Any other reaction? Thumbs down. Okay. Staying busy to avoid emotions is an escape. It's very important to acknowledge your emotions and to deal with them. So it's a escape. Constantly refreshing your social media. Thumbs up, thumbs down. One thumbs up, one thumbs down. One more. Okay. Yeah. Again, this is an escape. Why? Because it's social media. We don't need social media. Uh, uh, we don't need social media as part of our break. So it's totally an escape. Journaling or quiet reflection. What do you think? It's a rest or an escape? Okay, I got lots of thumbs up. So yeah, that was an obvious. It's a rest. Now, coming to burnout doesn't happen overnight. Anyone would like to tell what do they understand by this line that burnout doesn't happen overnight? Anyone, they can unmute, speak up, or they can write in the chat. Piling of emotions and exhaustion. Okay. Anyone else would like to give a try? Burnout doesn't happen overnight. What does this line means to you? Okay, no worries. So, like we all say, I feel like it's a very common line we say that no one becomes a celebrity overnight. Similarly, burnout doesn't happen overnight. It requires constant effort, and by effort, I mean that the four things we discussed, we have to do it constantly, then only we'll be able to suffer from burnout. And sometimes efforts are not a good thing, so you need to avoid those four things. Anyways, now when I say burnout doesn't happen overnight, I have divided burnout into three different phases. So let's discuss those phases. The first is overdrive, second is self neglect and emotional detachment, third one is collapse. So when I say overdrive, I mean excessive drive for ambition. What happens is, for example, you enter into a new phase of your life. You maybe started a you start maybe got a new responsibility, like for example, we all are teenagers, so let's say maybe you became a head boy or head girl of your school. Some teacher gave you some responsibility. You became a president maybe of debate club or president of any club. And so basically the point is that you got a new responsibility, and that is where you have the ambition to prove yourself, which leads to pushing yourself harder and harder. You constantly try to push yourself, and you do the overwork, you do the hard work, you do the smart work. And what happens is you get exhausted, which results to self neglect and emotional detachment. When I say self neglect, it includes maybe not taking proper care of yourself, not taking proper sleep, not taking proper diet, and ignoring your interest, your passion, your hobbies, overall in ignoring yourself, ignoring your needs. Now, when I talk about emotional detachment, when we are exhausted, our frustration piles up, which leads to displacement of emotions, which you also may have heard as lashing out. You lash out, you maybe lash out to your parents, your siblings. When I say the term lash out, I mean that you are not able to handle your emotions. You become short tempered, you become aggressive, you lose your patience, and you're constantly feeling irritated. So, overall, if I say self neglect and emotional detachment, I mean that you stop taking care of yourself and your loved ones. You stop taking care of your emotions and the emotions of other people. You don't care what you are thinking. You don't acknowledge yourself and the people around you, which leads to the third phase of burnout, which is collapse, or we can say mental breakdown, or the topic we have, burnout, which is when your mind and body completely shut down. Your body gives up, your mind gives up, you are exhausted. So you're exhausted mentally as well as physically. And that's when you start to feel isolated, which results in social exhaustion as well. So, like these three phases maybe will happen, like these three phases do take time to happen. They'll not happen once. Maybe you, when you are in the overdrive phase, you feel like that you are doing hard work, you need to prove yourself, you are doing the good work, because good results will come. But and you'll not observe it as a burnout phase. You'll not, maybe it's just very normal and you will normalize it. Then, when comes self neglect and emotional detachment, this is oftentimes disguised as teenager behavior, because it is said that, puberty age, adolescence, too much emotional, hormone changes, emotions are all displaced. So that is something, it comes as a disguise, and all parents and we ourselves, normalize it by saying that it's just a phase, we'll overcome it, we'll come out of it. But we need to see that it could be a sign of burnout. And then third, collapse, that is somewhere you'll definitely know that it's a burnout. But the point of sharing these three phases is that you should know the difference when you are having a burnout and when you are just feeling tired, maybe for a day or so. Because there's a huge difference in burnout and maybe getting tired for a day or two. Burnout will definitely affect you in the long journey, because when these three phases will happen, you'll find solutions which will help you in the short term, but it will definitely, like 100% I'm saying with guarantee, will affect you in the long term. Because like what's good with overworking, exhausting yourself, then stop taking care of yourself. Like when you stop taking care of yourself, that's basically your EQ, that is emotional quotient, is decreasing, which is not at all a good sign. You stop caring about your loved ones, that definitely is not a good sign. If you are not respecting them, if you are not caring for them, their respect, their love for you may decrease. The mind and body shut down. Without your mind and body, you're nothing. You'll be not able to do anything. You'll not be able to take part in maybe your hobbies, your interests. So overall, it will affect you. Harpreet is asking if someone have is having a burnout, how we will reverse it. We are just coming to it. So basically, now this is a short video which I would like you to see. So basically, in this video, you will see all the three phases of burnout. Just a second, I'll play it. I'll need to stop sharing my screen and share it again because I need the audio. Just a second, guys. You must see the video, and then I'll be asking you what you observed from the video. And at that point, if anyone could just unmute and tell, because I feel like that it would be too long to type in the chat. Maybe one of you could just unmute and tell what you felt, or maybe you could raise your hand and I could say your name and then you could tell. So please see the video with proper focus. So would anyone would like to share that what they observed from this video? Anyone? Anyone want to type in the chat or speak up? You can also say that you did not get the video, because I'll be very honest, I also did not get it. Why, after I watched for the first time, I needed to watch it at least twice.
Um, I can give it a try.
Okay.
Um, it seems like the distractions are distracting while the person is trying to study or complete something.
Okay. I got one response in the chat as well. What I observed was that he kept ignoring his feelings or emotions and then it piled up. Right. So, okay, one more. Lots of headache, panic, daily routine. Right. So, in this video, what we observed was that this person is an artist. He made some art and he thought that he would like to share it with the world. He posted on social media platform and he saw that the other artists' posts were getting much more impressions, much more views, much more likes than him. That is, he compared himself with others, he expected instant likes. He had a fear of falling behind. He thought that if he did not post more, he would not get likes. That is, he constantly, again and again and again, keep making new paintings or drawings. And when all these things were happening, At that moment, he felt like that he was giving his best because he's an artist. That's his work. He need to do that. But at that time, the little bright light we're seeing, that's basically, we can say, overdrive phase which we are seeing. And at that phase, we are seeing that the all are happy, he is happy, the light is happy. But then when we are feeding again and again on our the light is feeding on our emotions again and again, then the light is becoming bigger and bigger, and slowly transforming into a monster which eats him up, because he was constantly ignoring his emotions, his piled up frustration. He isolated himself, and which all resulted in a breakdown. I hope that was clear to everyone. Was it clear to everyone? Okay, yes. So before we start with, like, after this, I'll be telling the solutions for burnout. Before that, I have an activity for you guys. So I'll be posting a link in the chat box. It's basically like 3 to 5 questions which I expect you to just solve here right now, and just submit it. And that questionnaire which I will be giving to you, in the end you will be getting some mark if you answered it correctly or not. And you will be only having 1 minute to solve it. Like, it's pretty simple, like you don't have to like even think. Okay, so it's 5:45. I max till 5:47, and then the link will be closed automatically. So I am posting it right now, and I expect you to click on this link, solve it, and submit it quickly. I hope everyone is doing. It's already 46. I'm waiting for the responses. I've gotten 2 responses. Going to be perfect. Yes. 3 responses. Another minute. Quickly, quickly. Six responses. Another 1 minute. Nine responses. 10. How much responses I am expecting? I'm at least expecting 12 to 13 responses. I've already got 10. If someone is submitting it, please do it quickly, and then I'll be stopping the link. Okay, so no more questions. Okay, so I'll actually would like to share this screen with you guys. Just a second. Okay, I hope you can see the screen. So the questions were like very simple questions. What is 24 plus 17? And I'm not sure if anybody got confused by this image. If anybody got confused by this image, can you please just write yes in the chat box? Or if you got distracted by this image, can you please write yes in the chat box? Then the next question was, how many months have 28 days? Next question is choose the correct sentence. Okay, now while answering this form, how many thoughts enter your mind? Do you feel rushed? What distracted the most? Now the responses we got was um 8 responses for this question, 9 responses for this question. Okay, so yeah, some replied that we did get a little bit distracted while this image. So basically, this image, like I tried to put this image with this thought that when you have a cluttered surrounding, when you have too much on your plate, you easily get distracted. So you should try to do one thing at a time, and not try to be a polymath, and just take one thing at a time. Now, how many months have 28 days? Maximum of the people replied 44, 12 months. Okay, so the right answer is obviously 12 months, because in hurry people did not read it correctly. Every month has 28 days, not only February. The correct sentence 100%. Very well. How many thoughts enter your mind? Very nice. So very few. Okay. Do you feel rushed? Many feel rushed because of the time limit, I'm guessing. And what distracted you the most? Fear of getting answers wrong, trying to be perfect, and time pressure. Okay, that's all. So the purpose of sharing this Google form, and the purpose why I said that we need, like, we have a time restraint, we have marks there. So basically that was something I was just trying to put pressure on you. There was no marks, there was no time constraint, the link is still open. If you go, and you'll be able to check out. But the point was, when you have pressure, when you have constant fear of getting things wrong, when basically you're doubting yourself, things get wrong. Even the simplest questions can get wrong. That was the whole point of that activity. Hope it was helpful. Now, the reality check. Burnout is real. It definitely is real. It is not something we should normalize. It is not something we should take lightly. But can it be solved? Can it be reversed? Can it be prevented? The answer to all three questions is yes, but unhealthy coping does make it worse. So, how we need to cope up with it? Recovering from burnout. First, sleep is not optional. Second, your brain needs real rest. Routines reduce mental chaos. Movement and diet helps more than we think. Now, when I say sleep is not optional, I mean by that we need proper sleep. And when I mean sleep, I'm not saying that you go lie to the bed, you wake up in the morning, you slept at 10, you maybe gotten up at 6 in the morning, and 8 hours of sleep. No, I'm talking about deep sleep, where we can say, to the technical term, REM sleep, where your brain, your neural system is actually getting real rest. Because sleep is, like, I think a very known fact, is very important. Lack of sleep, right, like I have written, affects your focus, your memory, your mood, your emotional control. These are like very important things which you need in your day-to-day activity, and without these, it will lead to one of the factor which contribute to burnout. And now burnout becomes worse when we normalize exhaustion and we sacrifice sleep for productivity. Now, when we don't sleep properly, we are feeling exhausted the whole day. But now, because we have the ability to compare ourselves, we have the fear of falling behind, we have the productivity pressure. So we just start normalizing this exhaustion, and slowly and gradually our sleep time decreases from 8 hours to maybe 3 hours. We sacrifice sleep for productivity. We think that maybe we'll study at night for 4 hours, and then maybe we'll sleep in the morning for 8 hours. That's not okay. That is basically you are sacrificing your sleep for productivity, and it is not making you productive. There's a thing called biological clock, where we say that we have to maintain a consistent sleep schedule, that is, you sleep and wake up around the same time. Because if you are sleeping and waking up at different time daily, that is affecting your biological clock. Your brain gets confused. A melatonin hormone, which is responsible for your sleep, the a brain gets different signals each time. So there's increase and decrease of melatonin, which leads to sleep deprivation, that is, you are not able to take a deep sleep. So basically, now I'm telling how to get a proper sleep, deep sleep. Reduce screen time before bed. It's advised to not use screens before at least 2 hours, or if you have some work, try to make it 1 hour, that before bedtime you're not using your phones, your laptops, basically avoiding screens. Because our brain is, after the whole day, is already tired at night, and with the help of screens we stimulate it, the melatonin levels decrease, and we do not feel sleepy. Avoid revenge bedtime procrastination. Sleeping late to feel temporary freedom. People feel like that, now we did not study the whole day, maybe we'll study now, we'll sacrifice the sleep. Maybe if we sleep for less time, we could enjoy a little bit more. That is basically you getting temporary freedom and affecting your next day as well. Create a calmer night routine. You should dim the lights. Maybe you can definitely end your day with reading or journaling, self reflection. That is a very good way to end your day. Prioritize rest without guilt. You need to know that sleep is a need, not a reward. Your body requires it. It's a need, not a want. So these are some points which you need to do in order to have a deep sleep, REM sleep. Coming to next point, which was, okay, let's go back. Your brain needs real rest. When I say your brain needs real rest, we mean that, like I said in earlier, walking, quiet time, stretching, drinking water in between study blocks. What we do is doom scrolling, binge watching, constant notification, all that things which our brain does not require in the break time. What real rest really includes is quiet time, sleep, meaningful breaks, reduced overstimulation. Meaningful breaks and reduced overstimulation overall means that your brains require real rest. That is, you need to just not do anything which may stimulate your brain, which may need your cognitive ability. Next point is routine reduce mental chaos. Now, when I say routine, many may have thought that, you know, routine means that creating a plan for yourself. But, and obviously, or everyone think that a plan does not work out. We make plans and we always end up not following it. But instead of creating long term plans, maybe we can create a small routine. When I say small routine, maybe in the night you can make a to-do list for the next day, or maybe when you get up in the morning, you can make a to-do list for your whole day, that these are the things I'll be doing today. And instead of writing things according to time, that I'll be, for example, taking up physics in from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., start writing the topics. I'll cover chapter 1 of physics, no matter how much time it takes, but you have a topic to cover and you will cover it up on that day only. Sleep schedule, like I said, your biological clock needs to be set. You need to have a sleep time. You have need to have a constant biological clock. That means daily try to sleep and wake up at the same time. Planning your day, that is to do meals, proper meals, balanced diet is very important. Screen boundaries, that is screen time We need to shorten up our screen time. Structure reduces decision fatigue, stress, unpredictability. So, routines help us to reduce our fatigue, stress, unpredictability, because when we do not have our day planned, we are like, I feel like it takes at least a lot of time to think only what we want to do. I will sit with all my books and it will take me at least half an hour to decide what subject I have to study. So it's easy to maybe make a to-do list or make a list of topics I need to cover in the morning. Now, when I say screen boundaries, I want to know that, does anyone can take a guess that what's an average screen time of teenagers nowadays? Quickly write in the chat box. Average screen time of teenagers nowadays. 6 to 7 hours. Okay. Anyone else? 3 hour. Okay. 3 hour. That's new. 11 hours. Okay. That's not something surprising. Anyone else? Okay. So the average screen time is, oh, 2 hours. That's good. Anyways, the average screen time of teenagers nowadays is 7 to 9 hours. And if we talk about what is considered healthy, like, it's, if you even go and search on Google, Gemini, ChatGPT, where you ever want to search, it will say that considered healthy screen time is 2 to 3 hours for teenagers. And when I say 2 to 3 hours, I'm trying to include if you're using the screen for your study material as well. But the every, like, I think the people who are saying 2 to 3 hours are telling their own screen time. So that's very good that they have such less screen time. I myself have, I was like watching today and I saw that today I have screen time of 3 hours, to be honest, which felt like a lot. But then I realized I was using it for study purpose, then it's fine. Okay, so I just want you to know that you should have screen boundaries. 7 to 9 hours or more than that is a very terrific thing to hear, that if you're using that much, if you're spending that much time on phone, because not only you are it is not only resulting in the factors of burnout, but it is, affecting a lot of things, maybe your studies, your other social activities, so your society. That is something I would like to say. Now the next thing, the last cope up thing, is movement helps, diet helps. Exercise and dietary is very important. We should know what we are eating. We should know that regular exercise is important, because exercise helps in stress regulation, energy levels, sleep quality, and enhancing mood. Like, really, like, if we are doing exercise regularly, there is better release of hormones in the body, I'll say in layman language. And healthy habits affect mental health too, in the sense that water is very important. I'd advise you to drink at least 4 to 5 liter of water daily. That is something I started doing recently and it is helping me a lot. Balanced food, I think that is something we all have studied in lower classes, that how much balanced diet is important and what all balanced diet includes. Sunlight. Please stop being a coward and always staying in the shadow. Go out, maybe not in the daytime, but early morning, during sunrise, sunset. Go out, let the sun rays fall on you, enjoy the sunlight. And most importantly, physical activity. Try to take out at least 30 to 45 minutes daily. Maybe you could go on a walk, maybe you could play with your friends, maybe you could exercise at home. Because I've seen that people are like, literally in school also, in game period, they're just sitting and doing nothing. Like, I feel like that physical activity is very important. You should do that more. Now, a distracted brain is not a rested brain. When I say distracted brain is not a rested brain, I mean that if your brain is cluttered, If you're all the time distracted, you're all the time thinking, overworking, and not giving your brain a rest, then how can you call your brain at rest? Your brain do require rest. It do needs time to recover from all the day-to-day activities. And like I said, burnout doesn't disappear overnight. Recovery begins with awareness, balance, and small consistent change. Now, similarly, the burnout doesn't happen overnight. The burnout doesn't disappear overnight, but it can disappear. We just need to be more conscious. We need to be more aware about ourselves, about our surroundings. We need to be consistent. We need to put consistent efforts into ourselves, and we need to try to work harder on improving ourselves rather than comparing ourselves to others, rather than having a constant fear of falling behind, rather than pressuring yourself, rather than letting the society expectations distract you. In the end, I would just like to say, be yourself, be proud of yourself, have faith in yourself, try to give your best, but don't try to exhaust yourself. Go out, interact with people, don't be isolated, don't live in a, make your own bubble and live in that. Go in the outer world, enjoy, see the real world, get hurt, face different type of difficulties, have different type of emotions, acknowledge your emotions, and try to work on yourself. So here I would like to end my session. And if anybody have any questions, they can maybe ask in the chat box or unmute themselves. Thank you so much.
All right. So, as we come to the end of today's workshop, I'd like to sincerely thank everyone for joining us and being a part of this conversation. A special thanks to Miss Disha Agarwal for being here with us today, for sharing for such valuable insights with us today. We truly appreciate your time and support. At Anxothotl, our goal is to continue creating safe spaces for conversations around youth mental health, and your support truly means a lot to us. So, before leaving, please take a moment to fill out the feedback form that I've dropped in the chat box. And your feedback really helps us improve and create even better workshops in the future. And if you'd like to stay connected and updated, please follow our Instagram page. Let me just share my screen. Yes, so this is our Instagram page. You guys can join us here for future updates, whatever workshops that are going to be held, and future initiatives as well. So I think that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I see no questions, so I think we can conclude here.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you, Avi, for again for this opportunity. And I would like to thank Anxothotl and the team at Anxothotl. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening so patiently.
Thank you. You guys can leave now.